Well,
You don't know anything about it?
Trump's in free fall. As much as I'm pissed about what went on over the weekend and this procedural step and basically in essence this caving and
Right,
this abdication of a fight that you're winning when you're
right.
finally like have momentum. Like I just
Winning.
don't think this is going to slow down the momentum. It's an aggravation, it's a negative, it's backward steps, but I don't think it's not a backbreaker. I think the rank and file, the me and you. Because
Right.
now I'm a white guy, right? Who just feels the resignation of representatives that in your mind don't give a shit about you. A white America coming around and feeling like black America's been treated where we're just like, oh, fuck, no one gives a it's too big. We got the
Yep.
blackout ahead of us in 2 weeks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Another exciting edition of Two Men in Black and White, an honest conversation. I got to tell you, honestly speaking, I couldn't be more annoyed at those 8 Democratic senators, including Angus King, who caucuses with the Democrats, for rolling over and caving. I mean, Trump is coming off a fresh tongue lashing from the crowd in Washington, D.C. last night as he tried to read some military installation code, and he was just booed, flipped off relentlessly by the crowd there. He's got no juice. Nobody likes him. The ball is in our court, and you rolled over the same day as he was embarrassed and made a fool of. No American president has ever given us anything like this. Matter of fact, what are there? 7, 8 Watergates by 9 a.m., right? For the last 5 years of his presidency. For all 5 years that he's been in office, he's committed heinous crimes against the state. Brockett Ellis joins me now live from the beautiful confines of the upper Hudson River Valley. Brock, the fall foliage there must be beautiful because the politics ain't.
It was rainy day, gonna hit 30. We're gonna get a little polar vortexy thing coming through apparently.
It's cold
Early,
down here too.
yeah, gets cold overnight tonight. So I think fall sort of over for a little week. Mark, I think since I told you no editorial meeting today, I'm gonna surprise you with my take. Let's just get on there. I know that I'm supposed to be enraged. And I'm supposed to, as a progressive, way to the left guy, white guy in America, I should just be absolutely outraged at the 8 that strayed. And I just couldn't muster it up at all day long. And I was disappointed. I did as soon as we haven't talked in a couple days, maybe on Friday when the first leakage came out that there was some talks going on and there was going to be an agreement. I was like, really? Like, what's that going to look like? And I'm like, oh, here it comes, right? And it just soft played all weekend. And I'm like, I just can't get up the anger and the energy. And it kind of just hit me maybe 30 minutes before we hopped on this call. I'm like, I'm on a group text with a bunch of our high school boys,
Uh-huh.
Birdie and Herbie and Bauer. And Herbie and Bauer are crazy New York Jets fans. And the
Really?
Jets suck
They're
every
awful.
fucking year because
They're all
they have the worst ownership with Woody Johnson, right?
horrible.
And these guys get enraged every year that the team is terrible every year. And I'm just like, how do you even get your hopes up? How are you even optimistic that they were going to come through for you? What led you to believe in any way, shape, or form that things were gonna be any better this time around? And that's how I felt when I'm like, okay, Chuck Schumer's still the
Still
majority
chuckles.
leader, right? And so that's our big ringleader. I thought he was gonna be voting, so I just like, I guess I'm disappointed, but when you go into things with such low expectations, when your low expectations are met, just I'm still, so I shift back to, I'm not counting on the politicians to bail us out of this shit. We're going to have to do it ourselves. They're not good enough.
Right. And um they're not ready to meet the moment. They're not ready for the fight. Matter of fact, anybody who's not willing to throw hands at this point might as well not even apply for a Democratic seat because we're not voting for you. If you're not willing to punch somebody in the face hard, we don't want you on the ticket. We want fighters. I thought as soon as you saw Slotnick, you'd lose your mind. I just figured you'd blow your top. Angus King, Fetterman, we know he's an idiot. He can take his sweatshirts and go straight to hell.
Dick Durbin, Tim
Urban?
Kaine.
Yeah.
Tim Kaine voting no just reminded me of, God, Hillary Clinton picked him to be the running mate. Like, that guy's so fucking boring and soft. I mean,
And
seriously,
so
just
underwhelming really fits him. Like when I saw him at the podium this morning on YouTube, I was like, this guy has nothing to offer us. No charisma, no je ne sais quoi. Nothing. Nothing. And, again, not one of those 8 are presidential material, are leadership material. Like, I'm not motivated by any of those 8. There is nothing that they said that moved me. Angus King was contorting himself into pretzels, trying to explain his position, and it made no sense. What do you mean we had no leverage? Did you
yeah, I
not
mean,
see last Tuesday?
get it. I mean, I was almost like, okay, maybe you're not gonna win, but the game is to motivate the people. So stop thinking about the
Thank
legend,
you.
and the motivation of the people was to show us back. Like, let us look in the mirror and see the fight back. Look, we
Thank you.
just marched. We just came through and voted with a sweeping election victory across the country on every topic in every corner of every vote, in from public electricity monitors in Georgia or whatever they're called, to state house seats in Mississippi, to the ballot initiative in California, to New York City. I mean, it was a nationwide up and down the ballot sweep, and all they had to do was just just throw a little gasoline on us, keep us going. But I don't think it's gonna slow down the people. I think we're just weeding out our leadership, and it's like, okay, I don't mind that people are gonna get fed a little quicker. Maybe there was never gonna be a win when it came to these healthcare premiums, but even on the little things, it's like, I can't believe they
Well,
went for a deal that promised a future vote and doesn't have a date on the calendar. Like, how did they not say December 13th at 9 o'clock? Like, how is it just like some vague, we'll get around to it at some point in the future? Like, how is
you
that
got
even the
played.
negotiation? How do you walk away from the negotiation and not even get something as simple as the date on the calendar, the
They got
commitment?
played like lotto. And, and I mean, did they even get it in writing? It sounds like it was a handshake deal and a wink and a nod. And somebody said, oh, yeah, we'll vote on it, you know, and cross their fingers behind their back. There was no pinky swear. Would you trust anything a Republican said
I
in
mean,
this day and age? We are in the midst of a war. A war. And the war is on the poor and middle class. And quite frankly, I don't know what it's going to take for us, the poor and middle class, to realize we've got numbers. Brock, we've got numbers. If the poor and middle class got together, okay, if the poor don't understand no one gives a shit about you right now, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. And if this multi-ethnic, multicultural coalition doesn't come together, because we're seeing Latino voters having buyer's remorse up and down the streets as they're being gassed and disappeared off our streets, right? Like, I don't understand what it's going to take to let people know we need to come together. We are a much more difficult society and community than other countries. I just went over to Europe and did some visiting. In Italy, you have all Italians, right? Very few small subsets, right? Everybody's Italian, right? You go to Turkey, everybody's Turkish. Greece, they don't, other countries don't have this issue. You don't have 13% black folk, 22% Hispanic, right? 50% white. You don't have these huge, what do we have? 5, 7% Asian, right? We've got all these different subsets that we are trying to bring together. And that's why we need leadership that looks like Mondani, that looks like last Tuesday, right? Gavin Newsom, Mondani, Mikey Sherrill, right? The young lady that won, the former congresswoman in Virginia that won the governorship there.
Yeah, Spamberger.
Spanberger, that's
Yeah.
what leadership looks like in our party now because we need the multi-ethnic, multicultural coalition. And Chuckles does not understand that, so he needs to fuck off, right? The progressive side is already demanding that he resign. He needs to give up leadership. He needs to vacate the seat and ride off into the sunset with his, firmly, sternly written letters.
Yeah, I
You know,
mean, he has to be the casualty of this. I mean,
gotta be.
I thought he was gonna vote along with it, like, but either he's, like, in essence, the wrong coach for the team because his players don't listen to him, right?
Right,
So that's
right.
either that's the issue, or worst case, he gave a wink, wink nod to 8 senators who aren't up for election in 26, 2 retiring and 6 who have 4 more years left to actually almost have a defection without ramifications, right? Like, just like, oh, I'll turn my head, whatever you do when I'm not looking, I'm fine with, right? Like, that's worst case. Best case is he can't keep in line. Either way, you get to a scenario where who's he leading? I think
Right.
we said this months ago that he had
Yes.
lost, that he should resign. We've been saying this since the spring.
Yes.
That's why I'm not enraged today. Because as long as he's there, don't tell me we're gonna get good outcomes in the Senate.
Yeah, you're right. And I shouldn't waste my time blowing my stack. I really shouldn't. I couldn't watch it today. I watched my Midas Touch report. Ben Meiselas was absolutely beside himself, with this nonsense, you know, and the narrative, the winds were blowing our way. Did you see the emails that were released about Ghislaine Maxwell and her prison conditions? She's getting catered meals. She's getting all this preferential treatment. She's got personal exercise time by herself. She's living in a life of luxury as much as you can in prison. She's not had the warden herself is delivering these meals. She's getting visitors who are allowed to bring computers in. She's one of the oligarchs.
Yeah, she's having her own little Gatsby parties down there, right? She's got
Well,
her own version of it,
I mean, what the
prison
fuck?
version.
She's already down there with nonviolent offenders like the Real Housewife lady from Salt Lake City and the Theranos Elizabeth Holmes fake, wannabe. What she wannabe Tim Cook with the black turtleneck lady. I mean, Brockett's a joke. And now the Pussy Committee thing has come out where the author, Mr. Wolf, is talking about this new Pussy Committee. Well, newly released information about the Pussy Committee of Epstein and Trump, whose job it was to traffic young ladies over to the prince, right? So you got that brand new coming out. These folks had no leverage, right? And more is coming every day. The dude who wrote the check for 130 million, front and center, him and his father, front and center in the Epstein scandal, all over the flight logs, all up on the island, all on the Lolita Express. So, I mean, this is my concern. Like, do they really want the government to open?
Well, that's the one, and Jim Acosta pointed this out first. He's like, "Oh, okay, good. Now we can get the Epstein files released, right?" Like, so he's like, the one outgrowth of opening the government again is that now that issue can come back to the forefront
Right.
Clearly, Mike Johnson is slow playing the swearing in of the Arizona congresswoman until he thinks he can get the offsetting seat out of Tennessee. Special election, I believe, is December 5th, maybe the 4th, something like that. And
Mhm.
he's pretty convinced he's going to get a Republican in that seat. And then that'll tip the balance to where he can open the House basically and not lose an Epstein file vote. But if we go upset his apple cart by pulling a huge upset in Tennessee, which is not out of it's
Not out of
highly
the realm.
unlikely, but MAGA is in free fall and a lot of pissed off MAGAites. So all I have to see is like how much their health care is going to go up, and 80% of them want the Epstein files released.
I mean, why are we protecting pedophiles, right? Ghislaine Maxwell, the most prolific sex trafficker of young women that we've ever seen, is being handled with kid gloves, getting unprecedented privileges. Brock, do you realize she's probably having unmonitored communications through these computers that people are bringing into her? I mean, her emails paint
Keep
a
her quiet.
picture.
It's
Yeah,
gonna keep it's gonna keep her nice and quiet, right? That's the whole
right,
game, right? Keep Ghislaine happy so she doesn't say her truth, right? You either got to keep her happy or dead, right?
right,
Trump, it's one of the two with Trump, right? She can't be disgruntled and talking and doing like exclusive interviews with Rachel Maddow, right?
right,
That can't happen.
right. And, the thing is, these emails that were released, where she's describing to her family, her newfound comfort is just a joke. Um, Especially to anyone who has a loved one that's incarcerated and knows the hell that they go through on a regular basis. And don't sit here and tell me there aren't two systems of justice in America, right? Because Donald Trump and his cronies and all his fuckboys and the muskrats have shown us, exactly, how it works for those people with affluence and connection and the ability to manipulate the system. I don't want to hear shit about OJ Simpson anymore. Okay. Until somebody tells me something about those 2,500 people that got pardoned on from January 6th, I don't want to hear shit
More
about OJ.
pardons this morning, Giuliani and others. Now it was
Yeah.
like performative, right? Because they can still get hit up on state charges, but Giuliani and God, what was the name of that lawyer? The lawyer who was behind a lot of the shit. Yeah, a bunch of them got pardoned again this morning. The pardons are a fucking joke, right? Darryl Strawberry got pardoned the other day. Like, it's just fucking random. You know, Diddy's coming.
But yeah, Diddy's getting out. I mean, he's probably just getting the money together. It's like how much, what's how much is Trump asking for? Right? Because, and then remember, he said, I didn't know anything about the part. He, swore up and down about, Joe Biden and his abuse of the pardon
Yeah,
power. Then
abuse.
they ask him about the Binance guy. Well, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Really? You
Well,
don't know anything
I know.
about it?
Trump's in free fall. As much as I'm pissed about what went on over the weekend and this procedural step, and basically in essence this caving and this abdication of a fight that you're winning when you're finally like have momentum. Like, I just
Right.
don't think this is going to slow down the momentum. I think it just kind of it it's an aggravation, it's a negative, it's backward steps, but I don't think it's not a backbreaker. I think the rank and file, the me and you, right? Because
Right.
now I'm a white guy, right? Who just feels the resignation of representatives that in your mind don't give a shit about you. A white America coming around and feeling like black America's been treated where we're just like, oh fuck, no one gives a fuck.
Right.
Like, you know, but I don't think it's going to put out the fire. I think it's too big. We got the blackout ahead of us in 2 weeks. We can still put a big economic stamp on what's going on. Consumer confidence already at like all-time lows.
All-time
It's
lows.
tanking, right? People don't want to spend already. Having the blackout is, I think, going to be easy for people, a nice, easy excuse to not spend and to sort of put their negative consumer confidence into action and say, you know what? I feel shit about the current conditions. I'm not going to fucking spend my money.
Yep.
on you fuckers. It's an easy one. We're only like I think 13 days away from when that's supposed to start. 15
Yeah.
days, we're basically 2 weeks away.
Yep.
So I want to hear, there needs to be more talk about that.
Yep.
More, once again, what do we call it? Like more positive peer pressure of people telling other people, hey, I don't want to hear
Stay out of
about
the
you
store.
being out at restaurants. Yeah, I don't want to hear about you doing shit. Yeah, we're all gonna go to Thanksgiving, but other than that, we ain't got
Yep.
fucking doing shit. We're
Exactly.
shopping before it, and we're gonna make whatever that Black Friday, you know,
Yep.
historically shitty.
Yep.
Everyone who's trying to sell us shit, shed some
Straight
tears
to hell. And don't forget
and blame
Cyber
Trump,
Monday.
hopefully.
Yep. And don't forget Cyber Monday. Cyber Monday is also big. People go huge online on that Monday after the holiday, and it's convenient. But, look, we're going to have to tighten up the purse strings. We're going to have to hit these 83 billionaires and oligarchs where it hurts. And we're going to have to let people know we're not taking it any fucking more. We're not fucking gonna take it anymore because it is over the top. I mean, Brock, we're talking about 25 million people losing healthcare benefits. We're talking about 42 million people now who are screwed, right? Because their SNAP benefits were delayed. You think they got a cushion? They got no fucking cushion.
I don't think most of those SNAP benefits most people still haven't gotten their cards refilled. I mean, some states have
Yeah,
done it, but a lot of states haven't. So
right.
even with all this noise, we think like all this shit happened. Nothing's really happened yet, right? The shutdown is still in play. Flights got canceled left and right and will continue to get canceled. And now Trump's yelling at the air traffic controllers because, quote, they're complaining
And threatening them.
because they didn't get paid. And they didn't trust him to provide the back pay. Why would they trust him? Why would anyone trust him on anything? Come
Dude,
on, fucking joke.
all
But
he done, welch.
he's
Fucking guy's a welcher. Sitting here talking about the NBA people. Really, dude? You're weighing in on the NBA gambling scandal? You got bigger fish to fry. You got a country you're supposed to be leading, but you can't stay awake. How about that? How about you get some fucking sleep instead of sitting there on Truth Liar or Truth Social, whatever the thing is, and get the job done. I mean, Brock, like whoever thought he was going to grow into the job was an idiot.
come on. That was
I mean,
fucking media bullshit. An 80-year-old racist, an 80-year-old
yes,
xenophobe, just an 80-year-old liar, like,
yeah,
just perpetual congenital liar. And now he's in mental decline. He can't even stay awake through meetings. And
yeah,
I love that he gets booed. He can't go out in public anymore. He can only go to controlled environments. He thought it was going to be a great day to go to a football game because he wants a stadium named after him. He can't go in front of the people, and people at football games have to have a decent amount of money, by the way, because they're expensive. So it's not like that's a starving crowd. It's not the same people who are online for
you
food
damn
or
right.
handouts, right? That's
You're
definitely a
damn right.
cushy middle to upper middle class person that's able to buy tickets to a football game, and
Right.
they've turned on him, right? He can't go out in public anymore.
And why would he think he could go out in the DMV, right? Where the shutdown is front and center. That's the one place you should have stayed away from.
He wakes up every day convinced that he's beloved because he's a fucking maniac. He's a psychopath. He's not tethered to reality like the rest of us.
Right. And that's the problem. We're dealing with this megalomaniac, has no sense of reality, no goals. Um, and he thinks that he's doing a good thing by hurting his constituents. He gets off on the fact that his power allows him to punish and inflict pain upon the masses. And I don't understand why you even why do you take the job? Why did you run for president if all you wanted to do was hurt people?
To become maybe the wealthiest person in the world, to get all the money he's taking in, right? To live the life of like a Saudi king,
Yeah.
right? Or Putin,
Right.
to get to this position where everyone has to pay him, be it
Right.
tariffs for pardons, right? Everything's pay for play.
Right.
So that's maybe why he did it, and also because he's a, malignant narcissist, so he needs or wants the adulation. That's why I love when he doesn't get it, because we know how much it breaks him, right? To get the negative,
Yeah,
right? To get
yeah,
the right up front personal negative. I want him out at more football games, right? Keep going around.
yeah. You ain't kidding. Let's
Keep
get him
showing
out.
up. Keep showing
Um,
up.
so I mean, where do we go from here? Do we? I mean, because we got to sit around and wait for these 8 clowns for 4 years. Two of them retiring. I
Yeah, we
don't
can't get
know.
to them for a bit. But there's a lot of other people on the left who can get primaried, and there's a
Yeah,
lot of there's a lot of
yeah,
seats up for grabs. There's going to be a lot of battles to fight if there's a possibility of fair elections.
right,
In the interim, we know what we have to do. We have to do economic warfare. We have to march in bigger numbers in concentrated ways, such as in Washington, D.C. Do believe you're going to see a lot of protests tomorrow from veterans because it's Veterans Day. And apparently a lot of veterans will be out protesting. I hope a lot of people join them. I wish there'd been like more buzz about that headed into these marches, because I think so many of us are looking for an excuse to get out there and
yeah,
looking to pile on and find something that's going on. So I think a lot of veterans are going to make some noise tomorrow. I think it's going to be a contentious day tomorrow, because a lot of people in the military are kind of getting fed up, and a lot of them are still on food lines. Right.
right,
And our
right,
soldiers in Germany were basically had to beg the German people to feed them. So hopefully the military's is gonna make a lot of noise tomorrow. I hope military leaders, ex-military leaders, take the day, the millies and the like, to
right,
make big statements and make a lot of noise about the direction of the country. We have to be constant, because Trump and Project 2025 wakes up every day looking to reshape America into this Christian theocracy, oligarchy slash fascist country.
right,
We have to every day come up with the pushback that motivates our masses and brings more people into the fold.
right.
Show energy all the time. So the fact that I'm sure it didn't, old white Americans decided to, walk away from the fight. I don't know. I just barreled through it. I'm on to the next fight.
Yeah, yeah. All right, give me a quick hit before we get out of here.
All right, good news, right? The Supreme Court refused to listen to Kim Davis's bullshit about gay marriage. So at least that's one
Cool.
fucking thing this Supreme Court didn't fucking unravel. And
Yeah,
we can at least put that one. We can at least put that issue to
to
bed
finally.
for the near medium term future.
Gosh, how
So
long
I
has
guess
that been going on? Has it been 10 years since
since
that
marriage,
lunatic started that?
since she started that shit in Kentucky where she
Yeah,
wasn't gonna like. Yeah, it's
yeah,
probably been like 10 years. So I guess I'm thinking that is a good one. Couple other quick hits. When I was in New York City on Saturday, song came on, Latin song at 3 in the afternoon for the brunch. People dancing all over the place. I'm like, is that a Bad Bunny song? Absolutely. I heard my first probably not the first I heard of it, but now I know Bad Bunny. Woo, we got the
yeah,
place jumping.
yeah, yeah. I love
Three
it.
in the afternoon for one of those, you know, unlimited mimosa brunches in New York.
Awesome. You
Bad
gotta
Bunny
love
had
it.
the place. Bad Bunny had the place hopping, so I'm on
You,
board. You don't
yeah,
need to know the words. You
you
don't need to
gotta
know
love
the
it.
words.
Yeah, I've been checking out his YouTube page. He's got some catchy tunes on there. I'm digging the Bad Bunny sound. And I'm posting it on Facebook just to piss off the maggots. Posting his music videos on my Facebook page just for fun, just for shits and grins. A quick hit for you before we get out of here. Apple removes the app that allows the anonymous reporting of ICE agents, the ICE reporting and sightings. Apple folds again like cheap suits, right? Brock, like so much damage has been done to so many brands because of the Trumpster. Why haven't these people figured out that they're on the wrong side of history with this guy?
Mark, let's take a minute here. How do you think that goes down? Does a phone call come from Christy Nome? Does it come from that guy Homan? Does it come from Stephen Miller to Tim Cook directly? And they just tell him, you need to take this down or we're going to make, do they just say that? And then, or do they go to the next level and say, or we're going to make some problems for you getting your products back from China? Or like,
Yeah,
do you think it's a
put the
direct, do you
squeeze
think
on.
Tim Cook just knows to do it? Or you think there's a phone call and a shakedown and
I
he
think there's a
cowers?
shakedown
Shakedown?
because Trump thinks he's a mob boss. You know, he's always wanted to be one. You know, he just wasn't very good at it. He's not a good crimer. And yeah, I think, the call comes in from one of the higher ups. Hey, if I have to go to the Trumpster on this, we're going to slap tariffs on all your shit, or, we're going to make it impossible for you to get your stuff done. You won't get any more clearances from us if these apps continue to persist and make our jobs harder. If you don't help us brutalize people, we're going to brutalize you. Think about having to make that phone call, and think about being on the other end of it and saying, "Oh, okay, we'll help you do that."
Why aren't they
Absolutely.
in the other? Well, obviously, they don't want to run a business in a society that works that way,
Exactly.
working with a government that operates in that fashion. So why aren't they like on the side or somehow like doing everything they can to get this regime out of there? Because that's just a simple call. It can get ratcheted up, right? Like
Right.
that's. I
It's
mean, okay, so the shakedown goes on one by one, and they all just kind of fold over because
Yeah,
they
man.
like their jobs and they want their stock price to stay high.
Yep.
Okay.
And that'll be that. All right, Brody. Well, that's
All
it
right.
for
Well,
Monday.
it's a pleasure. Tomorrow, Veterans Day. Let's see if we get some good protests out there and get some
Let's
good
hope so.
pushback and some good action. We need something to turn the tide from that depressing, rollover that we
Yeah.
just encountered.
Yes, sir. Stay loud and proud, brother.
Okay, Mark. Always a pleasure.
All righty. Peace.